Will GTA 6 have Uber, and what other forms of public transport could it have? So over the years, we've seen many different variants of different public transport in all the GTA games. Everything from taxis to buses to trains, we've had them all. But since the previous Grand Theft Autos, the world has changed and the way that we all commute has also changed. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the past of the Grand Theft Auto transport, and also what we can expect to see in the future. But before we get into today's video, if you do enjoy the video at any point, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm trying to grow the channel, so any support you can give is massively appreciated. So in the early Grand Theft Autos, public transport didn't really serve an important part of the gameplay. And what I mean by that is no additional value was added for the public transport being there. It was just there for two reasons. One, for us to be able to create some more income as a player of the game, and albeit it wasn't really a lot of money that we could make from that, but secondly, it was there just to add a sense of immersion and realism. And you could also say that maybe there was a third reason there of it was a good way to get to and from places in the map without feeling like it was boring or tedious in certain areas. For example, some missions may involve the destruction of our vehicle, and we may need to get from one part of the map to another where maybe there wasn't that many cars spawning around us. So what can we learn from the previous Grand Theft Auto games, and what could that tell us about the future? Now I do want to state here that this video is predominantly speculation. Of course, we've seen some stuff in the leaks which we'll get onto, but everything here is just theorizing and speculation because we don't have the answers. But what we can do is use some of the stuff that we've seen in the past that Rockstar have done and maybe draw some sort of conclusions of what we can expect to see in the future. As someone that's quite new to the GTA community as a creator, but someone that's been watching these sorts of videos for years, a lot of speculation out there has actually ended up being in the game from what we can see in the trailer. So we are able to draw some conclusions, albeit they are speculation until proven otherwise, but we are able to speculate. So the first Grand Theft Auto I want to talk about is Liberty City, where of course we had the trains. The trains running around the New York and Greater New York area are obviously a staple of New York. The subway systems around New York are just a part of New York as they are to London. They're very important. Now the next form of public transport that kind of stood out to me the most was probably GTA Vice City, the ability to drive buses around and pick people up in the buses. It is worth noting that this was extremely glitchy, as you could get an unlimited amount of people on the buses, but they never ever got off the buses. There's quite a few shorts and reels going around of people showing that they can pick up like 150 people in these buses and they'd never get off. Obviously this is probably a glitch and probably due to technical limitations at the time, as GTA Vice City was actually supposed to be just a map add-on for GTA Liberty City, and it only became its own game in the last 6 months of development. So GTA Vice City was actually probably one of the more rushed games, but to this day it's one of my favourites. I massively love the whole neon light bars and stuff. It's my thing, I love it. Now I'm going to gloss over the rest of the Grand Theft Auto games because I want to start talking a little bit about GTA 6 now. So Grand Theft Auto 5 came out in 2013, and since 2013 the world has changed a lot. We've seen a lot of advancement in the way that people get around. The two key ones that really spring to mind for me are Uber and electric scooters. Now I don't live in a massive city, and despite what a lot of people seem to think, I don't live anywhere near London. I live hours away from London. I don't live in a big city, and for me, I don't really get many Ubers, but what I do know from all my friends that live in big cities, and I'm not sure if it's the same in the US, you guys can tell me in the comments, Ubers are a big part of getting around cities. And electric scooters, even more of the past like 5 years, they're a massive part of getting around cities. Now, I think that we maybe might have Ubers in the game. My main reason for thinking this is purely because it's very similar to a taxi. It is a taxi, it's a form of taxi. So for Rockstar to implement that, they basically just got to rebrand up taxis and use civilian vehicles with a sticker on the side. That's not really a massive stretch for Rockstar to do. Do I think they'll do it? For the sense of immersion, maybe. But in terms of usefulness, maybe it's a form of side income we can make. We could also be a taxi driver in the previous Grand Theft Auto games. I don't think it will dramatically impact us as players either way. Of course, you guys can let me know in the comments on whether you want to be able to drive or hail an Uber within the game. I personally don't think it's going to be a dramatic part of the game. Electric scooters, however, I would love them to be in the game because they are a big part of metropolitan areas now. Like, people love electric scooters. I hate them. I had one go into my car, so I have opinions on them. But I do think that maybe that could be a cool thing that Rockstar could introduce to the game. But I do think it's worth mentioning here, we have no reason to think that they would be in the game. I would love them to be in the game, but everything we've had from the leaks so far, whether it be the leaks, the trailer, or any information that's crept its way out of Rockstar, there's nothing about scooters. Does that mean they won't be in the game? No. Does it mean that they will be in the game? Definitely not. And I've seen quite a few theories floating around in comment sections on YouTube about electric scooters and other modes of transport. And like I said, I would love them to be in the game, but I don't think it would be the be all and end all of the game. But then again, Rockstar have always experimented with new things. For example, the way they introduced mountain bikes and stuff into GTA 5 was a really cool mechanic that they added to the game. And we know they have the technology to do it. But also, to animate an electric scooter isn't difficult at all. You don't have to do the pushing mechanism or anything because it's electric. So who knows? Who knows? Now we need to talk about the leaks that we had back in 2022. So someone that went by the name Teapot Uber Hacker, someone who had previously hacked Uber, managed to hack into Rockstar Games' messaging platform called Slack. Slack is a messaging platform that a lot of corporate business use, especially in America, and this person managed to gain entry by sending phishing emails to relevant employees at Rockstar. Once they gained access, they leaked a lot of video clips, like 90 video clips of screen recordings of gameplay and development testing from within the game engine. Now from these leaks, there's one bit of public transport that stood out to everyone, and that was the Miami Metromover, or the Vice City Metromover as it will be called in the game. This was one of the first clips that actually confirmed it was Grand Theft Auto to us, because within the Metromover it said Vice City on it. So this had confirmed two things to everyone that's seen it. One, it's definitely Vice City, and secondly, the Metromover is going to become part of the game. Now the bits that I'm interested in here is how integral will the Metromover actually be to the gameplay of the game? Is it going to be something that is just there for the sense of immersion or realism, or is it going to be part of a mission in any way? We don't know, and to be honest, I don't think it really matters. I just think it's really cool that it's going to be there at all. But the next thing I want to mention is this will create a really cool form of strategy when it comes to online. So for example, if someone's griefing you with an oppressor, hopefully we don't have one, but if someone's griefing you in a certain part of the map, or maybe they have a vehicle and they just won't leave you alone, you could like hop on the Metromover, go to a different part of the map and be away from them, and it could add the element where you need a strategic approach to get away from these people. Now the next thing I want to say, there's a lot of things that we saw in the leaks, but that doesn't even mean that they'll be in the game. Rockstar have had to pull things from games over the years, but it's also worth noting as well that Rockstar experiment with a lot of things. So for example, there may be like 10 or 20 different mechanics that they'll try and introduce during the development process. Whether they'll make it into the final game or not, we don't know. But the very purpose of that Slack channel could be to say, hey, I'm trying this thing, what do you think? And it could get axed from the game. So we won't know what's in the game until we get the game. And it's so important to remember that a lot of people are quoting things that will 100% be in the game because we saw it in those leaks. It's not the case. And even when the game comes out, things can still get axed afterwards. Especially if the game is a digital download rather than on a disc, for example. Rockstar can just launch an update where they pull the files. So we don't know what's going to be a staple of the game until we get the game, and some things that we've never even discussed or even thought about might become a really integral part of the games. Like I've mentioned in a previous video, the lighthouse, at the moment that's just a little drop on a speculative map. That could become a staple of the game, that could be a really important part of the mythology around the game, like Mount Chiliad for example. So many little things in the map that we have no idea even exist yet could become staples of the game, especially when it comes to things like public transport. There could be a mission where something dramatic happens that involves public transport, and it could become that part of the game that shocks us all. We don't know. So there's a lot more we can talk about with public transport and different elements that we can expect to see in the game. But once again, until we get maybe even that second trailer, there's only so much we can say. Also as well, I do have a second channel which isn't Grand Theft Auto related. It's me mainly waffling about stuff and doing general YouTuber stuff, so feel free to go and check that out. That is linked in the description down below. But thank you all for watching today's video, and if you did enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing. I will see you all in the next video.